Doors. Nope, we already did this bit, pick something else. Listen, I know I've talked extensively about Doors and its offspring, but you have to admit that it's about the closest thing to a perfect horror game concept as you could possibly get, especially on a super hyper platform like Roblox. In fact, if I had to make a map of every single video game in the world, it would look something like this. Over here is gaming as a general concept, right? Now over here is Roblox. Way out here. It's something that I've noticed over the past year or so, just how different Roblox is compared to the larger gaming space. It's insane to see just how big this platform really is, while still being the single most isolated gaming sub-niche on the entire internet. I actually challenge you to name a single non-Roblox creator who has made a full series on a Roblox game. The crazy thing is that you probably can't. Is what I would have said if it was not for Doors. When you start to look at Doors from an outsider's perspective, the game starts to get a whole lot more interesting. Moist Critical, 8-Bit Ryan, I Show Speed, these are all people who were not Roblox creators. In fact, you could safely assume that before Doors, all these people did not like Roblox. This is what I mean by isolated. Roblox is an insanely massive platform, but the only people you ever see create content for it are people who only create content for it. Roblox just isn't a platform that appeals to the wider, older demographic of gamers. However, all of that changed when Doors released. This game reached a level of virality that no other Roblox game has ever touched. Okay, no other Roblox game other than Dress to Impress has touched. The reason I use Doors as an example though is the fact that Doors was the first horror game on Roblox to reach mainstream success. Suddenly, these creators who had never ever taken Roblox seriously as a platform were presented with a game that knocked their socks off. And instead of playing a Roblox game, they were playing a banger new indie project that just so happened to be built on Roblox. Another factor that could have contributed to Doors' success is the fact that even though it's the first game like it to reach this level of unbelievable virality on Roblox, it's not the first game of the same genre on the platform. Doors is based on another Roblox game called Rooms, which in itself is based off of a completely separate indie Steam game called Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. And would you look at that? Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion was also a super hit viral indie game that took over the Let's Play genre of YouTube back when it was popping off. This same thing happened to Doors when it was released, and is why the game is so highly regarded amongst older Roblox players, myself included. What Doors brought to the table could very likely have been the leading factor for Roblox to ditch the metaverse. Doors released at the very end of the metaverse's run, and the mainstream attention it got could have very well pushed Roblox back on the right path, much like how I'm pushing you on the right path to subscribe to this channel. I have a goal to reach 150,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and to do that, I need your help. So if you've been enjoying this video so far and want to see more like it, obliterate that subscribe button so I can make more of it in the future. It's important that you all understand this about Doors. Realize that when I praise games like Pressure, it's because they're taking this monumentally important Roblox game and innovating on it further. And I can't believe I'm saying this again, but the topic of today's video somehow manages to improve upon Doors even further, albeit in a way you might not expect. This is Grace, a Roblox game that I have been absolutely addicted to for the past week or so. Just to give you some context for what you're about to experience when launching this game that's in its, and I quote, pre-alpha state, here is the list of inspiration sources for this game. Rooms, Rooms and Doors, Doors, Pressure, Pizza Tower, The Mandela Catalog, Inscription, and the Bible. Yeah, you heard me. The Bible.
This is the Bibble.
You question the words of the mighty
I'm sorry, but when you list the literal Bible next to Pizza Tower in the description of your Doors Roblox game, that's reaching levels of based I never thought possible. So with that terrifying knowledge under our belts, what is Grace? Well, throw away all of your preconceived notions about what you think this game is, because I can confidently say that it is a near perfect combination of every single game on that inspiration list, except Inscription. I have absolutely no idea where that game comes into play. Grace answers a very simple question that quite literally nobody on Earth ever needed an answer for. What if Doors had a timer? What if you were put on the clock, having to, say, reach Jeff's shop by, 2 minutes and 30 seconds? Because when I say that each room in Grace lasts about 1 to 2 seconds, I mean it. This game is high octane as all get out, and it does not take long to get your blood pumping. When you have 3 buttons that all act as a run button, you know you're in for an insane time. This speed is obviously Grace's biggest X factor, and for a game that isn't even in its true alpha stage, it is unbelievably fun. What's really mind-blowing about this game though is the fact that it still functions as a Doors-type horror game with Doors-type horror elements. Node monsters still run at you. There's still a version of Rush from Doors. There's still a version of Infestation from Pressure. You still have to remember to stop and hide from the scary one-shot monsters that will reset your run. But doing so doesn't really take away from the immersion, as once that monster is even slightly past your hiding spot, it's back to running at Mach 10. But what's even more interesting about Grace is the fact that it's also an infinite runner. Yeah, you know how Doors has 100 rooms that once complete sends you back to the lobby? Well, not here, buddy. Grace has infinite rooms, which means you can literally go to room 1000 and keep going. Now, because this game is still so new, I can't say for sure if this will be the case for the entirety of its lifespan, but for now, it's basically infinite fast Doors. But one thing I absolutely did not expect was how similar the style of this game is to games like Pizza Tower. Okay, yes, I did mention the fact that Pizza Tower was listed in the game's description as a source of inspiration, but I thought that only extended to the timer and how it's reminiscent of the timer mechanic in Pizza Tower. But no, the entities in Grace are represented in a very rough, cartoony style that looks extremely similar to the style of Pizza Tower. I mean, be honest, we all thought Pizza Tower looked a little bit unsettling, especially that one level. Speaking of the entities, I really like the dynamics that they bring to the game. As much praise as I give Pressure, the entity designs are not the most inspired. The anglers are all just Rush with a different coat of paint on them, and while they're scary, sure, they all just kind of blend together and end up being more of a nuisance than anything else. The version of Rush that's in Grace, however, called Carnation, is a much more well thought out concept if you ask me. Grace is a game where entire rooms are cleared in like 2 seconds, right? Speed is a major part of the game. So Carnation, and really any other entity in the game, play into that speed and use it against you. There are no lockers or cupboards or really any like press E to enter hiding places in Grace. Only little cutouts and hidey holes that you need to run into in order to not get killed by whatever thing is chasing you. This is great, as it doesn't interrupt gameplay whatsoever by forcing you to watch an animation, then forcing you to wait until the scary thing is past, then forcing you to watch another animation, then finally allowing you to continue playing. However, despite this fluidity, you still have to be really quick. When that indicator appears on your screen and there are no places to hide for like 5 rooms, you start to sweat a little bit. And that's what I mean when I say that the entities in Grace play into the speed of this game. Another entity called the Elk Man punishes you for being too quick. The way you avoid this guy is by looking at him once before running behind a wall. However, if you're running too fast, you might not have enough time to get back to the place where the Elk Man can't see you. It's a really sneaky entity design. However, my personal favorite enemy in Grace right now is Dozer. By far the most unhinged drawing of a smiley face I've seen on Roblox in the past year. Dozer's main gimmick is that to avoid him, you have to stand completely still and crouch in order for him to leave you alone. Failure to do this before he opens his eyes causes you to instantly lose the round, which I did a lot because you do not have a lot of time to stop your momentum, and you could accidentally slide instead of completely crouch. Also, one really cool thing about Dozer is that he can spawn while you're being chased by other entities, which adds to the difficulty quite a lot. But what ties all of these enemies together is the timer. Yeah, you're on a time limit in this game. And much like Pizza Tower, if that timer runs out, the Goat Man starts hunting you. And let me say that That's actually pretty terrifying. You know, opening that grate at the end of the run that leads into the next safe room actually causes the goat man to spawn. So even if you're right there at the end, one small slip up could mean that you miss the hatch entirely and the goat man catches you. The reason every entity is tied together to this timer though is because all of them cause you to waste precious seconds to avoid them. Carnation forces the player to stop running so that they can hide in a cutout in the wall or floor. Dozer literally forces you to stop all motion and crouch to avoid it, making you panic about lost time. And the Elk Man literally makes you run the opposite direction in order to not die, which goes against literally everything you're taught to look out for in this game. Other entities I didn't mention also play into this. Slugfish forces you to get to the edge of a room as quickly as possible before it comes barreling through the hallway, and Sorrow forces you to hide under something so you don't get crushed. Oh, and also as a side note, there are two versions of eyes in this game, one called Sight that functions identically to that of eyes from Doors, and Heed, who functions as the complete opposite, literally requiring the player to stare at it at all times. If either of these conditions are not met, you won't actually die. Rather, your vision will be incredibly distorted for the rest of the run, making seeing become much more difficult. One thing I really like about this game is, unlike in typical Doors games where you're hit with a super loud noise and an obnoxious jump scare, that doesn't happen here. Grace handles its quote-unquote jump scares with, well, grace. I really appreciate games that don't destroy my headphones with loud jump scare noises. Like, come on guys, it's 2024, soon to be 2025. I feel like we've finally moved past cheap jump scares for horror, right? Right now, other than some simple cosmetic items you get for beating timers and clearing rooms, that's all there is to Grace. But now I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while. This theory I've been cooking called Doors fatigue. We already got an amazing Doors/Rooms type game earlier this year, Pressure. And it wasn't even like way earlier in the year. It was July. It's got me wondering if there are now too many games on Roblox that are similar to Doors. Don't get me wrong, Doors is still a fantastic, somewhat timeless concept. It combines infinite runners with horror, and I think that it flows the best out of any game similar to it. Even if we go way back to the OG source material for Doors, which was Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion,
these guys can't stop me.
Doors still outshines it in many ways. Doors has flow and gameplay mechanics that just feel so satisfying. The simple act of opening a door is seamless, not requiring you to interact with anything at all. Grace's speed is what gives the game its unique qualities though. It's an integral part of how it operates. Each entity plays into that speed in a different way. Carnation is scary because you don't know in what room that hiding place will appear. Dozer is scary because you only have a short time frame to stop everything you're doing and crouch, which also plays into how you're constantly on a time limit in this game, with the goat man slowly creeping up on you with every wasted second. All of these elements accomplish one goal: to cause panic. So it got me thinking about how this genre of game could be improved upon in the future. Have we as Roblox players, and have I as a content creator, milked the Doors formula too much? Nah, it's peak, bro. Go next, trust me.